Good evening. Kathryn Kaminski. Today, I'm going to talk about convergent, divergent. Given that I personally am somewhat of a self-proclaimed finance geek as it is, I have spent an exorbitant amount of time thinking about financial risk-taking and risk-taking in general. But the truth is, risk is actually at the core of human experience. If we take a closer look at risk, risk can be defined as the chance that things do not turn out as you expect them, or perhaps even more ominous, uncertainty. The situation where the consequences, extent or magnitude of circumstances is unknown to you. In life, unfortunately for us, some things are about risk and some things are about uncertainty. Now, when we engage in risk-taking, it can be both subconscious and conscious. It can be rationally constructed, or it can be emotionally driven, or both. But practically, we engage in risk-taking all the time. What I'm going to talk about today are different strategies that we use implicitly or explicitly across time. Now, you might step back for a second and say, what is risk-taking really all about, and how do we actually perform it? Well, in order to take risk, we need to combine a complex combination of both our inherent belief structures, our frame of reference, and our past experience. By combining all of these, we can divide the strategies that we use in life into two core camps: convergent risk-taking and divergent risk-taking. Now, bear with me here for a second. It's a little bit abstract. So let me go a little bit deeper and explain the difference between a convergent risk-taking structure and divergent. When you are a convergent risk-taker, you believe that the world and the structure of the risk that you face are somewhat stable, knowable, and dependable. When you take divergent risks, on the other hand, you profess your ignorance to the structure of the risk that you have impending for you. Now, it's still a little bit abstract, so let me go a little bit deeper and start with a simple example. So let's take two strategies, strategy C and strategy D. Strategy C is a convergent strategy. So remember again, convergent risk takers believe that they understand the underlying structure of the risks that are facing them. So a convergent risk taker, when they take a risk, when they're correct, they take profit, because this confirms your belief. When you lose, instead of taking the loss, you double up, because you further deepen your conviction and your underlying belief structure. That's a simple convergent risk-taking strategy. On the other hand, we can give an example of a simple divergent risk-taking strategy. A divergent risk-taking strategy, remember, professes their ignorance to the potential complexities of risk that face them. What does this mean? When you lose in a strategy like this, with this perspective, you cut your losses because you have no faith in the underlying belief that you have that you will actually succeed with this particular risk. On the other hand, when you win, you double up because you say, wow, maybe I've actually found something good. Okay. If I take a simple example, strategy C and strategy D, convergent and divergent, let's take a closer look at the properties of these two strategies in distribution. A convergent strategy experiences many small gains over time, with the occasional extreme loss. A divergent strategy experiences many small losses with the occasional euphoric win. If we look over time, A convergent approach will have periods of performance satisfaction with the occasional moment of devastation. In contrast, divergent strategies will have periods of underperformance with the occasional euphoric win. Now, again, you're probably thinking I'm a little bit abstract. So let me go a little bit deeper into some practical examples of risk-taking in your daily lives. So let's start with crossing the street. Crossing the street is a convergent risk-taking experience. You get to the other side, but in the rare event that you happen to be hit by a car, it's devastating. Convergent risk-taking. Research is divergent risk-taking. You try as many ideas as you can. Most of them fail, with the hopes that you might actually find a solution to a very challenging problem. This is a process which is called tinkering by the famous author Nassim Taleb. Let's turn to coursework. When you study, courses and study are convergent activities. They have limited upside. Your thesis and your project work allows you to think about as many ideas as possible with potentially unlimited upside. A couple other practical examples. Social networking is also a form of risk-taking. Convergent social networkers find a small group of people that they invest a substantial amount of time with, and they nurture that small amount of relationships. Divergent risk-takers meet as many people as they can, looking for the next big business deal or the next big interesting friend. Career choice is another example. Day in and day out, a regular job is much more convergent. An entrepreneur, on the other hand, faces the day-to-day risks and challenges of value creation in a business. Lastly, we can use another example in the world of finance. This is large companies. They're very well structured, much more convergent. Startups and venture capital. If you think about venture capital, investing in startups, there's so much uncertainty. It's so hard to tell what is actually going to succeed. As a result, the most successful strategy for investing in startups is divergent. Put a small amount of money in many different companies, hoping that you might invest in the next big Spotify. Okay. So let me summarize the properties of convergent risk-taking and divergent risk-taking again. Convergent risk-taking takes many small gains with the rare negative black swans, the serious losses. They have limited upside. On the other hand, divergent risk-taking strategies force you to take lots of small losses in life with unlimited upside and exposure to the potential positive black swans, the euphoric wins that you might find on your path. So the question you might ask yourself sitting here listening to me is, are you convergent or are you divergent? And the truth is that most of us are both. It depends on the situation that we are faced with. It depends on our preferences. It depends on our beliefs. Truth is, there really is no right or wrong answer to whether or not you should be convergent or divergent when you take risk. Instead, what you should do is ask yourself, what is your objective? Are you looking for success? Are you looking for satisfaction? Are you looking to survive? Convergent risk-taking strategies will give you performance. They will give you satisfaction, and they will give you safety and security for long periods of time. Divergent risk-taking activities will give you resilience, innovation, and allow you to enjoy the exuberance of an incredible positive experience. The optimal solution is to adaptively combine both of these approaches through time. So if we go back to the example of convergent strategies are much more aligned with satisfaction. Divergent strategies have a quest for success. The ultimate solution is to blend those in the right way so that you can obtain a little bit of everything in life. So, before I finish this presentation, I ask you a challenge. I challenge you to spend a moment and take a little bit of time for self-reflection. Think about your own actions and how they align with your objectives. Are you convergent? Are you divergent? What do you want to be? Kathryn Kaminski, Convergent, Divergent. Thank you.